front porch, learning everything we can. From arts and crafts to basic math and the words from Miss Luanne.
How are you today? I have a great book that we're going to read together. Do you remember the other day when we went out exploring in my backyard and we went to look at that tree? Well, I have a book. It's called A Grand Old Tree by Newell DePalma. And let's read this together. And you can see right here on the front cover, what do you notice is right in the middle of that page? Do you see that? That's right, it's a tree. Once there was a grand old tree. Look at that. That's just like my tree. We have squirrels that come and play and climb my tree. Her roots sank deep into the earth. Her arms reached high into the sky. She was home to many creatures. Birds nested among her branches. Squirrels scurried through her leaves. Caterpillars and ladybugs crawled about. Look at all of the creatures on this page. So many creatures called this tree their home. Oh, do you notice right there what kind of bird that is? Do you remember? We read 2 stories about this type of bird. Think about it. Do you remember? That's right. It's an owl. The grand old tree flowered. Oh, it's quite lovely. It bore fruit. Look at who's enjoying that fruit from the tree. Do you recognize them from the front cover? And sowed seeds. She had many children. Look! Do you notice what the squirrels are doing? Zoom in and look at this squirrel right here. Right. He is burying the fruit with the seeds. He's going to save it for a winter snack. But in the meantime, those seeds started to sprout to make new trees. Wow, this is amazing. Let's think about this for a minute. The tree had fruit. The fruit has seeds. The squirrels gather the fruit and they nibble and they crunch and they have their fill. When they've had their fill, they bury the fruit and the seeds for winter. But in the meantime, those seeds start to sprout right there. Wow. That is amazing how that happens, isn't it? They change the landscape for miles around, perhaps even farther than the old tree knew. Look. New trees. The grand old tree lived a long, long time. She basked in the sun. She bathed in the rain. She swayed in the breeze, and she danced in the wind. She grew and she shed. Look at how the tree changed. As days go by and the year goes by, the leaves change. We've noticed that, haven't we? Indeed, we have. Do you have a tree near your home? You might want to keep your eye on that tree and see how it changes. You could document it by drawing pictures just like this. Many millions of leaves. At last, the grand old tree was very, very old. Her branches no longer swayed and danced, but cracked and snapped in the wind. Finally, she fell, and snow gently covered her. Look at her friends are all there. There's Mr. Owl. We saw him in the tree before. Who else do you notice on the page? Do you see the other creatures all around the tree right now? I wonder what's going to happen when I turn the page. What will we learn? What do you think is going to happen when I turn the page? You think about that for just a minute. All right, are you ready? The old tree died. She no longer flowered, bore fruit, or sow seeds. But she was still home to many creatures. Raccoons nested in her trunk. Centipedes crawled along her branches. Do you see that right there? And a lichen grew on her bark. The grand old tree slowly crumbled. She became part of the earth. Today, the roots of her grandchildren sink deep into this earth. Their arms reach high up into the sky. They are home to many creatures. Just like the grand old tree. Oh, I love this story. What a grand old tree she was. And look at the last page. There are still new seedlings that are going to grow into big saplings and become a grand old tree. Just like the original one. Oh my, I'm going to keep a closer look on my trees from now on. What do you think? And maybe you should keep a closer look on your tree and document how it changes over time, just like we saw in this book, where they documented the changes. Let's take another look at that. Because the trees will change all year round. It will look different than this tree, because all trees are different. But they will change. We just have to look for those subtle changes and sketch them and draw them. That beautiful tree behind me that we go and visit so often, just a few months ago, there were no pine needles on it. It was a bare tree. But you can see that the pine needles are growing and it's getting thick and beautiful. And it's giving me a beautiful shady place to read my story. Isn't that wonderful how things change and grow? Let's see if we can see the changes that happen in the around our own home. All right, you have a wonderful day, and don't forget to take a close look at those trees that are right outside your window. Have a nice day. Bye.